As you know, we like to talk, and here you are, you're ready to listen.
Hindi tayo napakilala sa last episode.
Papakilala ulit kami. Okay, yan.
I am Virginia, please.
Ay, napakilala tayo last episode.
Hindi.
Sabi ko, ay, di ba?
May pakilala ba tayo?
Oo, alam ko.
Talaga, hindi.
Sabi ko, ito yung The Virgin Virginia, please. Or ba kayo sa yun? Anyway, Virginia, please. At your service. At ako naman po ang iyong Panginoon. Check. Poon. Charot lang. Ano ba? Your angel. Ano ba? Wala lang. I'm just your diva. Pura Loca Vega.
Kasi daw kamukha mo si Jesus Christ.
Hindi. Nakita niyo na ba mukha niya?
Alam ba natin kung ano talaga ito?
Alam niyo ba kung ano yung itsura talaga ni Jesus?
Pero may proof tayo na ang daming pictures na kamukha.
Hindi yun. Kasi yun yung
ginagamit na.
Yun yung Caucasian version of Jesus.
Yes.
Kasi
ano pa talaga si Jesus Christ? Ano talaga lahi niya?
Well, he is, by accounts, historical accounts, he is not the white man with a beard. He is brown, or people would even claim he's black, bearded man, Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Middle East pala. Basta yon, like in those areas.
Actually, napaka-komplikado ng topic na yan. Maraming references, maraming histories na kung galing kung saan-saan. Pero I don't think I want to go there.
Well, I thought you wanted to talk about religion now.
Not Jesus Christ.
Okay, sige.
It could be very controversial.
I'll have a simple statement.
Okay, sure.
I think that because no one really has seen the face of Jesus, people are free, in my own humble opinion, to make interpretations of what Jesus would look like. So, that's fine. That's really fine. Because we want, you're a visual person, just make whatever he looks like. I'm sure hindi naman nawawala how great the guy is. So, yeah.
I think there are really good lessons about Jesus.
Of course, as a believer.
Yeah, and that's why he's that popular. And yeah, because in fact,
there's a toxic fan base, but he's nice. Yeah. I really do think he's nice.
The teachings are
teachings are nice. It's cool. Ate, golden rule talaga.
Exactly.
Do not do unto others what you want others to do unto you. Something like that.
Yeah.
But if you want to go deeper, since you've opened up this discussion on religion, what do you believe in? Do you believe in a God?
I believe God as not a person.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think, because it's too limiting, in my opinion. Yeah. If we personify God, then you strip him, if his gender is male, of all the expansive power that he could be capable of.
Correct. And might also encourage patriarchy, I guess. Because it's like, kasi lalaki si God, ganyan. Okay.
And I have so many contradictions about the personification of the God. I believe more in the spirit and in consciousness, that there is this greater power that we don't know of, and that cannot be explained by science.
Correct.
That governs not only us, not only this Earth, not only our solar system or our galaxy, but the entire universe.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're all interconnected in that way. Whatever happens to us here is affecting everything else that is existing. That's my belief.
Well, that's great. That's good. I mean, if I don't want to question it, although to be honest, in the Catholic way of doing things, parang feeling ko the personification is just one. Because there's like God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. And it's a way to tie in na lang siguro a part of it. But I do believe kasi that there's universality of all of these concepts and principles across all religions. A belief in the divine or is a belief. Like, meron tayo niyan. Like, and even if you don't, you do have to recognize that, us as human beings, we're supposed to be connected to each other. And we owe responsibility towards each other, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think what I told you before is that I think spirituality is in the relationships that you nurture. And that speaks volumes about interconnectedness.
Correct.
And that, because it's, for me, that is more tangible. Kahit abstract yung concept ng interconnectedness, mafe-feel mo siya sa mga relasyon na meron ka sa mga kaibigan mo, sa pamilya mo. Doon mo man-nurture ang kung paano mag-aruga, paano magmahal. Diba? Ito, for me, these are all different versions of the spirit.
So we can then therefore conclude that everyone can be spiritual.
Yes,
but
definitely.
not everyone can be religious, which is fine. Which is fine.
Yeah, because religious is the organized practice, right?
Yeah.
And we all know there's thousands of religions.
Yeah. Plenty of religions.
What I really don't like about it, if I may have a comment, is that it becomes a competition. We are the real church, and yours
I mean,
is not.
Personally, I've heard of a pastor tell me that they uphold the standards of God.
Exactly.
And I'm like, okay, girl.
Yeah, like I mean,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, the claim is salvation, right? If you're not part of this congregation or
you will burn in hell.
You're not going to be saved. And for me, that's just. I don't think I can limit the God to that.
Correct. I know.
Limitation.
I know.
Yeah. So it just doesn't
work.
Yeah,
it doesn't sit well with me, Sim. Yeah. It's not giving.
Yeah,
it's not giving.
Not at all giving.
It's not giving. But I agree so much. Yeah.
But how did you grow up? Like, were you religious or?
I was religious, but when I grew up, I was able to kind of marry the concept of being queer and with my genuine appreciation for the Catholic faith that I was born in. Initially, you were born in a family who was very Catholic. It takes a while for you to really understand what it is, and when you finally got it, then you have to decide. I decided to really like, oh yeah, you know what? It is a good thing to have a belief system. But I also understand it's not for everyone, which is fine. We're not gonna shove. We're not gonna shove things on people's throats. This is not the program for that. But I mean, I genuinely had an appreciation for how our beliefs can actually help us in day-to-day things. What I don't like is you imposing that your belief is the only valid thing. I've had a lot of people that would knock on my door and be like, do you want to be saved? And like, what? How? Yeah, do I need saving? But okay, great. But would only say that this is the only way to be saved. Like with that particular insert religion here, like this is how you can only be saved. I'm like, who says that?
Yeah. I'll add another layer to this conversation. Like, what does religion mean to you as part of the LGBTQIA plus community? How is religion relevant to us?
I think it's in a way that you're supposed to have, just like everyone, if you have the right to religion or the right to a belief system, then you as a queer person should not be deprived of such right as well. So you actually do need to exercise, because it is your right. Exercise your right to a belief system. If that's what you believe, that's what you believe. What I hate about how it is sometimes here in the world is we are full of contradictions. On one hand, you tell people na we have the freedom to religion. Of course you have a freedom to religion. But it doesn't also mean that everyone has to subscribe to your religion. And as a queer person, if you choose to believe, it also doesn't mean that it negates who you are. You can be queer and a believer of something, and that can coexist.
For me naman, say ko naman dyan is, history has proven that LGBTQIA people has always been persecuted in a lot of the most famous religions.
Yeah, but I mean,
Catholicism,
correct. Well,
Muslim.
Yeah.
We've always been forced to feel that we don't belong.
Yeah, but I mean, Joan of Arc for me was queer as fuck. I don't know if you know what I mean. They might, historical accounts may say na parang, there weren't queer people in the foundations of these religions, but there were. I would like to argue that they were queer people.
Well, educate that's because I don't know. Like, why is she a foundation?
No, I mean, queer people have already existed. It's just that the people who write the scriptures, the versions of the Bible, tend to erase not just queer people, but also to kind of place men in power, like patriarchy per se. Like, kunwari, ang babaeng hinugot sa tadya, or the woman that was from the rib cage. In translation, that was not a rib cage. Did you know that?
No.
Oh, diba? Come on, like you reduce a woman to a rib cage of a man, really? But we can argue, like there's plenty of arguments for this one. But the point is, who's writing this stuff? That's a reflection of how the times were. But I would argue that even with all of these things that had happened, queer people are in the churches. There have been even in the how they were bringing up these religions. So yeah.
Let me add another layer to it.
Go.
I'm talking about the Babaylands.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, the Babaylands.
When the Spaniards came, and there was the Catholic agenda, and there was the binary agenda.
Yep.
which
They introduced.
to basically uphold the imperialism in the imperial country, which is Spain at that time.
Spain,
So what's your opinion on that? Because according to history, the Babaylands were singled out and were killed.
Yeah.
No,
Which
I'm
is
talking
also
about Babaylands is the occupation, and are the shamans.
Yeah.
And part of the Babaylands were the Asugs
Yep.
and the Bayugains, who were the queer identities that existed before the Spanish came.
So I think they needed something to vilify for their motive to so they can get what they want. Of course, when they would introduce Catholicism or Christianity, then they would have to say probably that that's evil. This is how it is. Again, if the belief system of the Babaylands have already worked and already acknowledges that it's queer. So this is where I think when religion has been used to gain political power. But I would argue kasi na supposedly that whatever Spain did, which for me personally, I already forgave them. But some would even argue that was the gift that they gave Christianity. May ganon na parang, Cebu, look at Cebu, diba? May perhaps, but I think I will also kind of, it would be better to acknowledge that Spain was instrumental of deleting a lot of our culture. They wiped out, as you've said, killed a lot of Babaylands, because they needed a common memory. We can't fix that, but at least we can learn from what has happened before.
I think what I've learned is that, the fact that the Asugs and the Bayugains, some of them became shamans, that we had spirituality. As LGBTQIA plus people. It wasn't a question about whether or not they converted to Catholicism, but in the beginning, they already had a belief system.
Correct. Love
and
that.
we were part of that. I mean, our queer ancestors were already part of a religious practice. And so for me, it isn't a question about spirituality, but it's a fact that when imperialism happens, LGBTQIA plus people are marginalized.
Yep.
Especially in a religious context.
Yeah. So, from what I got is like, noon pa man, ganun na yung nangyayari. Yeah, even before, even when the Spaniards came, they just, they really was.
But again, we are spiritual people.
We
in
are.
my opinion.
We are.
LGBTQIA plus people, we are spiritual
Exactly.
people. That's why we have communities, and our communities are really strong. We're the ones who actually save each other in times of crisis. And for me, there's spirituality. Yeah. For me, that's how spirituality manifests.
Oh, that's sweet. That's
Yeah.
really nice.
Right?
Virginia has a heart of gold, y'all. Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And I guess we'll leave them with that thought, right?
Yeah, we'll leave you with that thought. And queer people, we have faith and we love.
Yeah.
We have the capacity to love. So
Bye.
bye. Heart. Heart yan, di ako nagano. Ito ba kayo maraisip ito? Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
Should I paint my parts? Start by